snapping fingers, talking endlessly about some boring topic, and getting too handsy. If you've done any of the above while slamming back drinks at a bar, then don't be shocked when your bartender ignores you. If there is one universal social faux pas that can turn a whole bar against you, it's asking your bartender to smile more. Doing this is at best overplayed, and at worst, an egregious overstep. It's also the quickest way to sour a conversation. Actually, if you have this comment loaded in the chamber, the cold shoulder is the best you can really hope for. Many bartenders would serve your Long Island iced tea with a side of sass after the perceived slight. Simply put, if you're going to ask your bartender why they're not smiling, be ready to either wait for service or be asked why you're not funny enough to warrant a smile. Bartenders deserve the same amount of respect as anyone you interact with, so why are you whistling and snapping at them? Justin Ritchie, a service worker of 16 years who has tended bar at various locations on the East Coast, is tired of this rude practice. He told Mashed, "Being snapped at is one of my biggest pet peeves. We tell you our names at the beginning for a reason. Snapping or whistling is just demeaning and makes service workers feel like you're calling them like you'd call a dog. If you treat the waitstaff like dogs, don't be surprised when they bite back with a not-so-subtle retort. Chances are, though, they'll just ignore the noise coming from whatever rude call for service you're putting out." One of the biggest collective pet peeves of bartenders is being pestered while they help another customer. Bartenders provide service for sometimes hundreds of patrons a shift, and it's rude to both the server and served to interrupt this service.
Excuse me, sorry, we need...
Yes, in a minute, pal, all right?
When doubled with the bizarre, overwhelming urge to snap or whistle at your bartender, this interruption of service is bad manners. And as most bartenders have found out, these demanding customers tend to tip less too. Melba Tucker, longtime bartender and owner of Downtown Uncorked in College Station, Texas, specifically trains her bartenders to handle finger snappers. She told Mashed, patience and the knowledge they'll probably only tip 15% are the way to get through their visit. Something the movies always seem to get wrong about bartenders is that they have unlimited time to chat, even when the bar is full. While sometimes they certainly do enjoy a good conversation, there are some times when a bartender just cannot get everywhere as quickly as they'd like. Sometimes your bartender is truly not ignoring you for any reason other than they are slammed. A bartender's priority is their own bar guests, because that's where their money comes from. However, bartenders are typically responsible for all the alcoholic drinks of the entire establishment. Some restaurants make their bartenders responsible for to-go orders as well, which can put them in the weeds quickly. Sure, they may chat while making a drink, but slinging drinks can be a full-minded activity when there are 6 drink orders swirling around in their head. So when you see your bartender making multiple drinks in a row, don't take it personally if they haven't been back to you in a while. Surprise! Tips are how bartenders make the vast majority of their income, so the fastest way to work yourself down on the priority list is to become known as a bad tipper. The bartender could remember you from a previous visit, or you could have closed out your tab numerous times and have left little to no tip each time. Either way, they'll mark you in their mind as a customer they are working for free for, and a bartender doesn't love volunteering their time. If your drink involves a blender or more than 4 ingredients, you're likely going at the end of the service list. Bartenders want to help as many people as quickly as they can when they're busy, and cracking out the dreaded blender during a rush sounds like a nightmare. In addition to ordering blended drinks at the bar, if you've ordered anything that needs muddling or a drink off a specialized menu, you may be holding up the drink queue. So if your bartender is avoiding your gaze and your drink has muddled herbs or fruit, please know it's not you who has offended your bartender, it's your drink.
I'd like a single plum floating in perfume served in a man's hat.
Here you go.
If you're going out in public with other humans, please be kind, or at the very least, do no harm. The service industry is packed with people of all backgrounds and lifestyles, all of which are entitled to a safe working environment. So using slurs and other unforgivable language won't just get you refused service in most establishments, it will also get you kicked out. Restaurant staff tend to stick together, so if your bartender doesn't hear a certain comment or chooses to ignore it, chances are another staff member will act on it. Justin Ritchie is a member of the LGBTQ+ community and has experienced his fair share of nasty comments from customers. He told Mashed, "I've worked in places where the whole staff rallied and the guest wasn't welcome back. Unfortunately, this is not a rare occurrence for marginalized groups. Luckily, staff and even other patrons often band together for good when this does occur." One of the primary rules of going to a bar is that you stay on your side of it. Going beyond that invisible wall where the bar ends and the well begins is a huge no-no, whether it be touching your bartender or touching any of their tools. Because for bartenders, personal space is sacred. If your bartender is busy, that is not an invitation to grab a bottle and attempt to pour your own drink. This will likely get you cut off and kicked out, because it's not only illegal, but also a huge offense to your bartender. It goes without saying that no one really likes being filmed without their permission, especially when they're at work. However, with the rise of TikTok and social media influencers, bartenders are seeing cameras more and more. Taking a photo of your cocktail is one thing, but filming the bar area and the bartender at work is another. Not surprisingly, if your bartender catches you taking selfies with them in the background, they're likely to stay away from your side of the bar if they can. If you would like to film or photograph in a bar or restaurant for your social media or something related, just ask. The owner may love the exposure, and the staff may have fun with it, but coming in unannounced to film is a bit rude. Never ask for your drink extra strong or for your bartender to hook you up, because it makes you look cheap. As a result, your bartender may think you'll stiff them on a tip. Giving out extra alcohol is typically looked at as stealing, and your barkeep could get into serious trouble for it. So it's really not worth hooking up a customer for extra alcohol.
Could I have one more of these with some booze in it, please?
If your bartender does give you an extra pour, they'll typically ring you up for a double, whether they explicitly tell you this or not. But if you insist on a stronger drink, you'll almost always be charged more. Bartenders are trained to be able to tell if patrons are intoxicated and honor-bound to not overserve. So if you come into a bar having already been served to the point of intoxication, you'll likely be turned away. The last place where you were served can be responsible for your level of intoxication, and no one wants to be liable for an accident. Your bartender may also ignore you if they see you downing shots or ordering rapidly. They don't want you to drink too much alcohol too quickly, because then they have a case of intoxication on their hands. They may instead fill your water glass. Slowing down the rate in which you get drinks could help keep you and the people around you safe. Talking to your bartender is totally okay, but taking up all their time is not. Even if you don't see anyone else sitting at the bar, your bartender very likely has plenty to do. Whether it's side work, restocking, or running food to tables, every bar has a different standard of work for their employees. The bartender may also be responsible for the tables surrounding the bar.
Where's my Jim Beam on the rock?
It's coming!
With that being said, part of a bartender's job is to keep an open line of communication with their guests. There are some patrons that come to a bar alone in the hope that someone can lend an ear, which often ends up being the bartender. Usually, this is totally okay and even expected. Like with every interaction though, you should read social cues. Don't hold your bartender hostage with an extended conversation, and they are more likely to return when they can spare some time to listen. Sexual harassment is serious, and unfortunately, bartenders deal with it on a daily or nightly basis. Asking for personal information, dropping pickup lines, or commenting on their body are never okay. All of the above can be grounds for being cut off and tossed out of a bar. Service workers, for the most part, look after one another, and Justin Ritchie backs this up, telling MASH, "If you're being weird or aggressive towards any staff member, especially women, then you're out." Melba Tucker, as an owner, approaches the situation a bit differently while still supporting her staff. According to her, when one of her employees is put in one of these compromising positions, she freezes the customer out. She told MASH, "I take over serving them when it first happens, and when they come back, there's no eye contact, smile, or chit-chat. This usually ends up with the customer getting the picture that they should leave."